The mass bandit.
The man is here. The notorious. What do we used to call you?
Bad boy of ERP.
The bad boy ERP, but didn't he give you some really crazy?
Oh, Brohammer.
The Brohammer.
That was my favorite. I
Brohammer.
like the Brohammer.
Yes. Mr. Jon Reed, co-founder of Diginomica, the bad boy of whatever it was.
Are we live?
We're live, man. Look.
Oh, man,
See,
this
look.
is live without a net?
This is streaming.
Yeah,
we're on
indeed.
StreamYard, and then we're on the side
Okay.
here. That's what the people are seeing, and
Okay.
then that's just recording. And
All right.
and don't look up there because there's a little lag.
I won't look up there.
See, he's already like, all right, dude,
So
give
what
me
do you
your
wanna talk
impressions,
about?
man. Give me your impressions of what you've seen so far during this conference.
Well, so Oracle is really going all out to try to create sort of a customer-focused view of cloud in the large enterprise. So they are slamming us with customer examples left and right. The Saffircast keynote that opened the conference was just a parade of friggin' customers across industries and stuff.
Yep.
And for those who watch Oracle, they've never done a keynote like that, ever. Whether you like the keynote or not, they never did it before. There wasn't really even much Oracle branding in that keynote as far as like the usual like logos.
It was very relaxed, conversational.
Yep. And what they're trying to get across is that they've reached critical mass of customers in the cloud, running cloud applications, and they're also tying in their Oracle Cloud Infrastructure story because Oracle is very conscious of providing their customers an infrastructure choice and connecting the dots there.
Yep.
And that's actually really important because this didn't get a lot of discussion at the conference, but there are a lot of Oracle customers on older releases.
Oh, yeah.
And those folks aren't necessarily going to move to Fusion tomorrow. So Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI is emerging as an option where they can start looking at some cloud services, start looking at modernization without like doing the whole friggin' thing.
Yeah.
So that becomes important. So what Oracle's trying to do is just tell a story of how they've been able to serve customers at a scale that you just don't see in large enterprise ERP. You see it in the mid-market. There's a lot of exciting ERP cloud companies in the mid-market. You don't see as much in large enterprise. They're trying to tell a story. So when they go on stage today, like in Steve Miranda's keynote just now, that we're talking over, and they talk about things like the payment service connectors with JP Morgan and the logistical connectors with FedEx. They're talking about doing things with ERP that historically you couldn't do. And I know because I'm Johnny ERP. So like if anyone knows, it's me. In the past you couldn't do that stuff.
Right.
And now you can, and that's the case they're trying to make is we can do that stuff, but by the way, we're not the sort of the mean bully that we used to be. They're trying to change their image around customer centricity, which is a big change for them, the way they've been perceived in the market.
Absolutely. You know what? This ended, so we're getting rid of this guy, and we're going to the full screen, and we're getting rid of the music. All right, there we go.
All right.
So now we're just talking. It's just us.
You
All
and
right.
me, post-game.
We made it to the
Post-game.
end, man.
We did it, man. We did it. We done it.
All right. So what did you like the new approach?
I do.
Okay.
I do like the new approach. I think there's a lot of sincerity behind it on the part of Oracle leadership. I've talked a lot with Steve Miranda in particular about what they're trying to do with this. But the thing that everyone has to understand, including Oracle, is that there's a long journey ahead, and you don't change those kinds of things overnight. There's reasons why those perceptions came to pass. But part of what you're trying to do now is just help companies understand that there's so much more to build a business case around cloud, because there's a lot of disillusionment building up around the cost of cloud, and that it's not some magic potion that you just lift everything there and everything is great. And so what Oracle's trying to do is say, well, take another look here, because this is not just moving applications around. This is about like changing the user experience. This is about partners building apps on your platform. This is all this stuff. So one thing that might interest your viewers, I don't know, is I had some very frank talks with Oracle around the future of CX.
Okay.
And so this is another piece of the puzzle as far as like an Oracle that's willing to be more transparent around the challenges that they're facing, because historically I wasn't able to get Oracle to talk about stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's an important story because there was a lot of sensational reporting in the summer.
Oh, when
I'm
they
sure
when
you
they had the
saw that.
layoffs and
Yep.
yeah, sure.
Yep. And it caused some people to think, well, Oracle's just jumping ship on CX.
Yep.
That sounds familiar.
That was like the knee jerk
That
reaction,
was.
right?
And a lot of us knew people who were affected.
Yeah, of course, and it seemed like CX advertising took the biggest hit.
Right.
So of course when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, it feels like maybe they're shifting away,
Right.
de-emphasizing. But it sounds like that's what one of the things you were asking about.
I really wanted to understand it better, and I mean, I don't want to do like too much of a shameless plug for Diginomica, but one of the things we're trying to do is to help our audience like understand the context behind these things, because there's such a temptation to freak out about them, like
the knee jerk.
It is,
yeah.
And there's a lot of page views to be had when you can say, oh my God, Oracle's killed CX, and let's get some page views, and our business is full of that right now. And look, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything is hunky-dory and wonderful, because a lot of people were impacted by that,
yeah.
and these things are hard. And the thing that I think we should all accept is that we're not in a real happy economy right now, and a lot of vendors are making difficult choices.
I think this week, at least a couple of them.
Yep, there was another Microsoft headline about 1,000 people.
Salesforce let some folks go.
So this stuff's not easy, but I think the thing to understand about what Oracle is doing here is that, and I talked to one customer in depth about this, the Red Bull Formula One CMO was here.
Right.
And they're fully on the CX stack, and so I thought, oh, this is a good guy to ask about the future of CX, because he's like all in, and he's all enthused. He's talking about being an early adopter. They've been so one of the things Oracle is doing in CX is they're investing a lot in sort of next gen stuff. So they had some customer data platform news at this show. They're not backing away from that. They're investing in this. They have this crowd twist fan engagement thing.
Oh, right.
The Formula One Red Bull guy's all excited about.
Right.
He's like, this is like changing how we relate to her. So Oracle's investing in CX in a couple ways. I think they're trying to invest in cutting edge stuff. They're trying to invest in data backbone. And this all ties into what they talk about a lot, which is this end-to-end process enterprise. They want to connect the front end to the back end.
Right.
And I think that's a really good argument for CX as far as like, well, I mean, you've probably been there, we've all been there, where CX is great until our package has not arrived that we were going to give to our mom for Mother's Day that night, and it's not there. And where is it? And we don't know, and the customer service people don't know. And you're like, wow, there's actually so much that we can't see that historically has been lost in silos and stuff. And Oracle wants to sort of connect those dots. So I see Oracle as not so much abandoning CX, but looking more at what do their customers need most around that to connect the dots, so to speak. Now, I think where I think the questions remain, and where I had a little bit, and I published a piece on this today, so if anyone wants to see more of the quotes on that, they can. But I think like the thing that I don't know exactly, because this is where Oracle is a little more cautious, is around best of breed stuff. So in other words, like going up against Salesforce or Adobe, chasing customers on CX that are not Oracle customers.
Right.
How will that go in the future? That part I don't know so much, but as far as customers who were invested in Oracle's products, it doesn't look like there's like any kind of really tough times ahead for them, because it looks like Oracle is definitely like not backing down from that. But I do think there's a little bit of a difference. I make a distinction in my mind between serving your customers versus going out and trying to win customers. And we see this all over the place, like where software vendors will roll out functionality, but you think, well, maybe that wouldn't stack up against what you would sign, like a customer that had none of your other products. Maybe they wouldn't like that product. Or Oracle's a little reluctant to say, and I understand why, they don't want to back down from that, but I feel like what I can say is they're really refocusing on what their customers need, the customers that are already invested in them. So that's the impression that I'm getting.
Is that, I mean, you go to a lot of events, you deal with a lot of the big enterprise. Is that a theme that a lot of these bigger companies are doing, kind of trying to get as much of the business from their current customers and provide them with more and more, as opposed to spending a lot of their efforts trying to bring on new customers?
It's a good question. I mean, I think every vendor wants to sign like net new companies that have high growth potential, because it's great to grow with a company and see it become like a big ass company and it was on your product, and so that kind of stuff is cool. But there's definitely, I think, a lot of what vendors call land and expand strategies, where hey, they like this, let's go sell them some more of that.
Right.
Now, I had a talk with a vendor about this the other day, because they were talking about this. They wanted to publish an article around it, and I said, well, customers don't really like the term land and expand, because they feel kind of being invaded. It's got almost like a militaristic feel. It's like, wait, like you set up boot camp in my procurement department, and now we're issuing purchase orders all the time. So I think from a customer standpoint, I look at it more like that what you want enterprise software to be like is software that you like to use, that you enjoy using, that helps you to do your job better, that isn't just something that is so difficult to deal with. And if you like it, and then the vendor wants to give you more of that, then I think that is fair game, and that's your job, is to earn your customers' trust and respect. The only thing I would add to that is I think it is really important to acknowledge that partners have to play a role in that, and that was one of the big announcements at this conference, was around Oracle opening up its apps platform and its Redwood UI interface, because the idea is partners want to build stuff, and a lot of times, let's be honest, some of the partners out there have better ideas for like niche things than the vendor does, because they know that particular
That's where they
area.
live.
Right.
So
they want to build some cool stuff, but they want it to look like everything else. They don't want it to look like some, abandoned orphan of the, they want it to look like the rest of everything else. So that's kind of what Oracle's trying to do. So the only thing I would say that I think is a little bit different is that, like, now we think about it more like we want our customer to choose our platform, not necessarily all of our software. But we want them to say, you know what, in Oracle's case, Oracle's our go-to platform. So we might plug in different pieces sometimes. And by the way, Oracle better play nice with the stuff.
All the things that we depend on.
And partners can build and we can build, but I think that's kind of like the new sort of ideal for the enterprise. But there's still too much lock-in in our world. It's still too hard for customers to move from one product to another. But what can we do about that at what, 5 o'clock on a Thursday, when we're both
after 3 days
needing some sleep and a lot of caffeine to keep going? We can't really fix that today.
So one last thing, you have been chronicling the hybrid kind of conference.
So
we're getting close to the end of the year, right? I mean, I don't know how many more you have to do, but how would you grade the industry, generally speaking, this year?
Okay, so I would say up until this fall event season, I would say F.
Wow.
And I think I'm an advocate for radical inclusion of events, because I believe that a lot of people that can't get to events for whatever reason should be included and are part of who a vendor would want to reach. So I evaluate hybrid in that capacity. Like, if I'm not at the event, can I properly engage with the event? This fall, I saw a big marked improvement in the commitment of vendors to making that happen. Right now, in the background, we have Oracle TV on. A lot of that stuff is accessible, like not only on Oracle's platform, but streaming in various places. And that's a really nice way of starting to make it possible. And you even have like studio hosts, and we were talking, we were sort of grading them earlier. I'm not going to do that now, but the point is, like, it's great that they're giving it that real go, because there's this, like, vendors have been so afraid that, like, oh my God, if we put on a show like this, people won't come. But I think that's wrong, because I think the people that are willing to put up with air travel and possibilities of COVID or whatever, the people that are willing to come, they're going to come because they want it. I came because I want to hang out with you. I can't do that at home. That, to me, this is gold. Like, so
well, that's the sentiment I hear most. People are just glad to be back. To be doing this in person.
But let's be honest, Brett, you're not going to go to every event you get an invite for. but wouldn't you like to sort of keep a little better track of what's going on?
Right.
You know, you would, and we're, so I'll give vendors a C- now, and why a C-? Well, part of it is they're still figuring out how to do the Oracle TV or the Salesforce TV or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But a big part of it is that they haven't figured out how to engage the people that really want to interact and not just passively consume content. And I came to understand that that's only a smaller percentage of people. Because a lot of people sitting at home, they don't have the time or interest in like an interactive experience. They just want to catch a little bit of keynote fodder. Yeah. But then there are people that are really bummed not to be here that would love to have the chance to interact, to ask questions at a press conference, to be part of a customer roundtable discussion. And what my argument to vendors is like, let's make that possible. Like it's going to take a little work, but we can baby step our way there. But by the way, you can charge for that. And if you don't charge for that, you can certainly get some friggin' awesome lead generation out of it. Because a lot of people that want to watch your keynotes are never going to be leads. And so putting your keynotes behind registration walls and stuff is asking for technical problems and stuff, which you've seen. But if you want to engage in that hybrid experience and talk with product managers and while you're off-site and like have interactions with people at the show, that's lead gen type of person. Those are people who are really invested in your product. Mm-hmm. And that's the missing piece from hybrid right now. It's all about passive broadcast consumption. But I got to give vendors much better grade now because it's way the hell better than it has been. So I don't want to discourage them, but there's still work ahead, but they've made some progress.
Well, that's good. That's pretty good improvement from pre-fall to where we are now.
It is. I mean, if you go into the Oracle event log and you can toggle like between you can see which events are live streaming. Some of these setups will show you which ones are available for replay after.
Okay.
There's way more opportunities to package this content up afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're someone who's a pro at that. They should honestly talk with you about this and get your input because you're someone who you acquire all this video content and then your job is to figure out, well, how do we get this out there because we have this archive? Can I create highlight reels? Can I edit down some clips? How do I do that? Like that's the other part they have to figure out.
And the good thing about it is this stuff, for the most part, the conference is over tomorrow, but the content can live on.
Right.
And like you said, make it accessible to broad audiences, not just, use it as the traditional lead gen, but, open it up.
Absolutely. I think we can have the best of both worlds, but I think we still have to get over some fears that, look, it's like there's not a bunch of fence sitters. It's a little bit like American politics. There's not very many people that are just, I'll go either way. People have kind of picked sides.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true with events. Like, if they want to get on a plane, they're friggin' going to get on a plane. And if they don't, they're going to be left out. So why wouldn't you want to include them for whatever reason they can't be there? There's this idea, I think, in people's heads also that, like, well, if they didn't make it to my event, they're not a blue chip, they're not an A-list type of customer person. That's just not right. Life is life.
Some things happen. Sometimes
life is life. Budgets, health, location.
Right. Or life. Like you said, it's just life.
It is.
But the cool thing is, don't let life get in the way of them viewing and having an experience of the content that gets created. Even if it is created at a conference, maybe the conference ends, but the content doesn't have to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. This is cool, man.
Great shit.
Absolutely. Awesome. Good to see you, man. And I guess we'll...
Hi to the virtual peeps.
Yeah, that's right. We'll actually, I guess I better bring in Mr. Greenberg so we can do the traditional sign.
Do the wrap? All right, man. Enjoyed it.